Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is a Raid Shadow Legends video. Guys, we're kind of like midway through this fusion and then Raid are dropping some Shard events at us tomorrow. So I'll let this play through. This is my Ice Golem team. Or it's not actually, it's a basic version of what my Ice Golem team could be. Literally, it's Ice Golem Town right now. So I'm going to walk through what this team does after we go through the detail of what's going on tomorrow. But you can just kind of see that Ice Golem, not as bad as you might think it is when you've got some key components. And I'll go through that in a minute. But yeah, Raid have dropped this info then. So tomorrow, there's going to be probably everyone's favorite event, right? It's the extra legendary event. You buy one, you get one free. Basically, you get two legendaries if you pull a legendary through Ancient Shards tomorrow. They've actually whacked a summon rush in at the same time. So I'm guessing this is aimed at people who are not doing the fusion. Yeah, and it's like, you know what, guys? If you want to get involved in something else, we're doing a summon rush. We love you summoning stuff. It's our favorite thing that you do. And, you know, get involved with the summoning. That's the kind of vibe that they're going for. So bear that in mind. But basically, from Tuesday, July 11th, we're doing an extra legendary event for Ancient Shards. Okay? You probably already know what's going on. This is what they're saying here. If you summon one legendary champion, you're going to get another one at the same time as well. Lovely, jubbly, if it happens. And you're going to see a whole bunch of examples of people doing it. They'll be all over your Discord groups, your Twitter, you know, all over your social media, your Facebook groups. They're like, check out what I did. Pulled this champion, got this one free. Like, I got double Trunder or something ridiculous, okay? It's going to happen. And you need to be strong, especially if you're going for the fusion, and realize that it's just not the right time. It's not the right time to get involved. Unless you buy shards, unless you're going for this fusion, you kind of need to hold on to your shards for Champion Chase, which is coming at the weekend. Okay, so super important to make sure that you've got the final resources you need to get this fusion over the line. They also say here on the Wednesday, so tomorrow is the extra legendary event, and that's going to be going for 48 hours. And as I say, there's also this kind of like summon rush, which they've dropped in. It's all bait, really. It's kind of like hard bait, or it's a cool thing to do if you're a spender to get double legendaries. Yeah, so it's a fun feeling to get two legendaries at the same time. So up to you if you go for that or not. But on the Wednesday, they're also going to be dropping a 10 times event to summon 4 different champions as well. And I mean, they're decent-ish. They're good champions, I guess. Most of them are good champions. So the first one in the mix on the 10 times then is someone who got a bit of a rework recently. And I've actually seen them as like the best answer in a lot of situations to the Taras Marishka like toxic combo. There's some really cool endgame plat strats using Nodgar the Headhunter to take down that duo. And Nodgar got a buff. And honestly, it was a very fun buff. He's still hard to use, I would say. He's a good champion now. He's got a good kit now, but he's hard to use. So, and he needs pretty top-tier gear. Well, you know what? He doesn't need top-tier gear to do the thing they do in Plat, where it's literally like, we're taking these fellas down. But to use him outside of Plat in just like a general team, he needs quite good gear, really. So he's got an attack one enemy, heals himself by 10% of his HP, and gets an extra turn if he kills someone here. He's got an AoE smack here, which hits pretty decent damage. After attacking, this champion sacrifices HP equal to 50% of their max. Yeah, and it can kill him. Yeah, so it can kill him. He literally just goes like that. Half my health is gone, fellas. Okay? Just bear that in mind. The A3 here sacrifices HP equal to 50% of his max as well. Then equalizes HP levels with a target. So in effect, what you're doing is you're killing off loads of your health, and then you're reducing the health of an enemy. Yeah, then he goes again and obviously comes in with the kills. It's a very fun sort of setup that you can do. He's got this as well. So if he dies, revives him with 50% HP, full turn meter when dead if 3 or more allies are alive. So you kind of need him to do his stuff whilst your team is still out there, probably in stone skin gear. And basically what he's doing is all sorts of like silly shenanigans. Yeah, he's just like messing with big tanks, messing with their HP levels, coming at them with like this kind of HP swap type of mechanic, and then he kills them. It's fun, but it's hard to use. Right, next one in the mix then is Errol, who was also buffed. It looks like just doing a bunch of the buff guys here. Errol was buffed fairly recently, Sacred Order champ, and now he's a really good nuker. Yeah, he was buffed, and it was, again, a good buff. So his A1 attacks an enemy. He'll always have an extra 30% chance to crit in all of his skills. So he only needs 70% crit rate. This is useful. Decent hit in A1. The A2 is an AoE double hit. Yeah, and plus it's got some ignore defense. This hits really hard. Good for Rota's killing in live arena. Good generally. And then the A3 here attacks an enemy, removes all debuffs from himself, steals all buffs from the target, and then he attacks and gets another turn if he kills someone. So you could take out the squishy nuker, then go in with the AoE whack. Or you could take out, like a tank type champion. Once you've removed all their buffs, and then you go in for the nuke on the squishier ones. Like, plenty of options with him. He's a hard hitter, but he's quite squishy himself. So if he's not got ways to keep him alive, he'll just drop down. That's the second one. The third one then in the mix here is old Valkyrie. So Valk, I mean, top tier for stuff like Fire Knight Hard 10. Probably one of the best champions. Certainly before the Newt era, Valk was a needed champion. Nowadays, I think we can get it done without Valk, but still hard. But Valk also really good in like very end game clan boss teams. Yeah, just generally a solid champion. So brings you, and good in the arena as well, actually. Double hitter here, drops the enemy turn meter by 10% on each hit if they've got a buff. A2 puts out just a colossal shield. Yeah, it's the biggest shield ability like this in the game. Basically, it scales infinitely on her defense. The more defense she's got, the fatter the shield is going to be. She also puts counter attack on your whole team. Only 3 champions in the game that can do this. So really, really solid. And then she's got a passive, which makes her very good for the arena, because she gets a turn meter fill every time the enemy places a buff. So, and she's also pushing back the enemy's turn meter as well if they receive a buff. So in effect, it's like a double whammy. If the enemy is starting to buff a load with like a Sifi, someone like that, she can push everybody's turn meter back, take the lead, and then give your whole team counter-attack and a whopping great big shield. And then you're nasty to deal with in the arena. So Valk's got some cool mechanics going on. Got one last champion who is a Shadowkin, who is Junturo. Currently part of my main account clan boss team. Really solid. Does a lot of clan boss damage, a lot of work. Probably his best spot outside of clan boss. He's all right like a solo boss killer, but his kit takes time to ramp up to full damage. And so you don't really get the most benefit unless you're doing like a long-lasting clan boss team. So he's got A1, gets another turn if he kills someone. A2, attacks an enemy, steals 100% of their turn meter. I guess actually, I always forget about this part of his kit, because if you do just happen to pull him, then, spaces like Spider, Ice Golem, even Fire Knight, really, like, that's a lot of turn meter. Well, a turn meter steal is brilliant in those sort of areas. Dark Fae, like, a whole bunch of areas where taking the enemy's turn meter, if it's a single target boss, is brilliant. He's also got this on his rage. This is what makes him so good for clan boss. Puts out drop defense and weaken. And every now and then, every 4th use of this skill, which takes a while, he hits 5 times and basically does 1,000,000 damage. Like, hits like an absolute boss, which is fun. His passive here, all turn meter effects are increased by 50% on him. It can make him a bit difficult to speed tune if you're doing like a fancy speed tune, but it's all baked into Deadwood's calc. So kind of, yeah, you'll understand it once it's in there. Attacking all battles for an aura, and yeah, decent speed and stuff like that as well. So look, as I said, this event really is quite a bait event. Like, my free to play, I probably could get involved, really. I've probably got enough points sitting around to get the champion chase done without it. But my free to play, I don't know, it just feels like that's not the sort of event for a free to play. My main account, if I've got shards, I probably will pull shards, but generally steer clear unless you are someone who's after either a specific champion or, you're wailing out or whatever. I guess just to get back to this Ice Golem team that I showed you earlier, because Ice Golem tournament is on. Most people struggle with Ice Golem, and there's a few kind of key components that I had in my team, and luckily at the moment we've all got access to Artak, right? So one of the most important things for the boss is to apply decrease attack. Most important skills in the game. Decrease attack. Yeah, the boss is going to come at you and hit you hard, especially if his ads are alive, and he hits you a lot harder if you don't put decrease attack on him. The way this boss works is if both of the ads are alive, he's going to ignore 100% of your defense. If one of the ads is alive, he's going to ignore 50% of your defense. So basically what you need to be doing is taking down the boss ads as soon as you can, and then keeping decrease attack on the main boss so that he doesn't slam you into the ground. That's one of the things. The other thing which is very useful is poison. So once the ads are dead, poison and burn, it does the same thing, but against less than hard level. Yeah, so anything normal level 1 to 25, poison is your friend because it doesn't trigger his big AoE counterattack and the respawn of the ads. So actually a really good tactic is to get a team to the boss and then have 1 or 2 poison champions that literally just, like in regen set, just stay alive. Yeah, and just poison the boss to death. I personally, on the free-to-play, don't really go above stage 20 because I don't really feel a need to. And normally I don't run this team, but I was just trying to show you an accessible team. But basically what I try and do is keep speed running, decrease attack. I have somebody to deal with the waves, and then I have someone who controls wave 2. So the wave 2 have got that shriek ability, which is awful, honestly. It's an absolute nuke. So it's a good option to just control them. So in this team, Cornelia was doing it. Normally I'd have Nephril in that spot doing it. But ultimately someone who's going to control the ads on wave 2. There's also plenty of solo strats for Ice Golem. Generally need AoE poisoners to do that. Or duo strats where you have someone like a Drex alongside someone like a Bad L or an Ornn, a Venomage, somebody who's going to do AoE poison whilst someone like a Drexlar is controlling the ads. That's pretty much it. And you will get yourself far. But Ice Golem suddenly is a bit more attractive to farm because sets like Retaliation now super cool. Reflex is a brilliant set. Cursed is massively improved. Yeah, so all of a sudden, okay, you've still got the base sets which are all quite kind of trash, but you've now got a couple of sets in here which are actually worth putting some effort into. So yeah, and obviously whenever it's part of a fusion, you've got to get it done anyway. But I guess let me run my normal team just so you get a feel for what it would normally run like. So obviously, I'm basically replacing my High Katoon here with the Rabbit that I picked up earlier. It does a bit more damage for me. I've got control in my Nephril here in terms of 2 different abilities. So Nephril just becomes obscenely good. This is the wave I was talking about. It's actually a very nasty wave to deal with. I don't have like everyone fully booked and stuff here. Certainly not the legendaries. The Rabbit, I think, is pretty much fully booked apart from his A1. You see, we don't even let the second wave have a turn in that one. And then I've got 2 champions in the squad that can do the decrease attack. So obviously, the team I was running first had Cornelia in it as actually a really good healer and eventually a pretty good solo champ. But with the amount of control I've got with this team, the side ads are really not getting a chance to get their job done. Stacking up some good poisons. I will tick him over with the retaliation hit, just with like a normal hit. But because the side ads are just dead, I'm not really in any sort of trouble. This is definitely a boss. If you bring like big enemy max HP champions in, you've got to be careful you don't trigger him to do 2 retaliation hits. Because the retaliation hits are where it all starts to go wrong. But you can see, I don't really know. Here it comes. Right, so I don't really know why he's not done any yet. I feel like he should have done one already by that point. Now we're just being careful that we don't end up tipping him over a second one. Like, I'm not doing anything. I'm going full auto here, but it's a genuine concern that if he gets a couple away in short succession, you can be in trouble. There it comes again, but we've managed to get one of the ads down. And yeah, we're going to be fine just to get this done. I've also got my Artak in regen set, so with high health. Like, he should never really drop unless we get 2 of those big slams in quick succession. But there you go, guys. That's Ice Golem 20 and some ideas and some tips around how to build teams for that. And I guess let me know what you think of the summon event. I've been Hell Hades. I'll see you later.